Ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, you have been requested to undertake a review of the events following the execution of the traitor, the religious fanatic, also known as the King of the Jews. Your job is to consider the reliability of witnesses in the most intriguing case passed on to us by the Roman procurator Pontius Pilate. During the recent Jewish festival of Passover, this itinerant preacher was arrested and tried for treason. He was executed a week last Friday, and that should have been the end of it. However, there have been some unsubstantiated reports that the aforementioned preacher, Mr. Jesus Josephson of no fixed abode, could be Nazareth, but we ain't sure, gov. Idiots. That Mr. Josephson was seen alive on several occasions after his death. We have a full sworn account from the centurion who oversaw the execution, and the evidence is overwhelming that Mr. Josephson was indeed dead before the procurator gave permission for his burial. Over the course of the next few weeks, it is your job to evaluate the evidence provided by some of the witnesses to hear what happened and decide whether these are reliable accounts or not, to help the Roman occupying force publish an official version of events and quash any unsubstantiated rumours. Our first witness is a member of the Roman occupying force who were ordered by Pontius Pilate to guard the tomb into which Mr. Josephson's body was placed at the request of the Jewish high priest Caiaphas and his father-in-law Ananias. Call the first witness! Please state your name for the record.
Legionary Julius Dimmus, sir.
So, Legionary Dimmus, how long have you been a soldier in the Roman army?
15 years, sir.
And how long have you served in Jerusalem?
2, sir.
Please, can you describe the events on the evening of the Ides of Aprilis?
We was on guard duty, sir.
Guarding whom?
We wasn't guarding a home, sir. We were guarding a tomb. Dead Jewish traitor. Tomb was too good for him. Should have been left on the cross, I reckon.
Thank you, Legionary. Now, you were guarding the tomb of Mr. Josephson, were you not?
No, sir, we was not.
But you just said you were guarding the tomb of Mr. Josephson.
No, sir. I said the dead man was in the tomb. The tomb belonged to some Jewish bigwig who was trying to keep his face out the papers.
Ah, would that be a Mr. of Arimathea?
Yes, sir. That's the one. Bit suspicious, if you ask me, sir. Creeping around out at night and all sorts. There was another bloke with him who looked just like one of those Jewish religious know-it-alls, but he didn't hang around either.
So, what happened?
Well, we thought it was a great lark at first. I mean, we were totally focused on ensuring that the traitor had no opportunity to leave the tomb at any point.
That would be the dead man.
Yes, sir. You can never be too careful, as I always say.
So, did anything unusual happen?
Oh, yes, sir. Legionary Banners Locus won 4 games of Turnerai Lapoli in a row, sir. Absolutely extraordinary.
And why, pray tell, is it so extraordinary?
He doesn't know the difference between a 0 and a 10, so he's used to the game, sir.
Legionary Dimmus, did anything extraordinary happen in relation to the tomb in which Mr. Josephson was buried?
Oh, no, sir. Definitely not. No, not at all. Nothing happened at all night.
So you were awake all night?
Oh, yes, sir. Of course, sir. It is against regulations to sleep on duty. If I'd fallen asleep, I'd be giving fustarium, sir.
Would you remind the Senate what fustarium is?
my squad mates would beat me to death, sir. No Roman legionary would ever be caught on sleep on duty, sir.
So nothing extraordinary happened, say about an hour before sunrise, like a magnitude 7 earthquake?
Oh, that. Of course, I'd forgotten about that. Maybe jump out my skin.
So, what were you doing before this unextraordinary, unprecedented, dermis-removing earthquake?
Sir?
Yes?
Don't like to say, sir.
Legionary Dimmus, if you do not answer my questions, I will ask the members of the Senate gathered here to transfer you to the coldest, wettest, most miserable outpost in the Roman Empire.
Oh no, not Danum. Anywhere but Danum.
Oh, don't be so stupid. The Emperor hasn't even ordered an invasion of Britannica yet. So, what happened?
The disciples of the Jewish traitor came in the confusion of the earthquake and took his body.
In the confusion of the earth quack, they stole the body.
Yes, sir. Stole it right away.
Legionary Dimmus, can you describe any weaponry you might have been equipped with for your guard duty?
Oh, yes, sir. I had my gladius, as did Badus Locus. We each had a hasta as well.
And remind us, a gladius is?
A sword, sir. Short, pointy, and sharp.
And the hasta?
Long, pointy, and sharp. It's like a spear.
So the disciples of this Mr. Josephson came and took the body?
Yes, sir.
So they were armed as well, were they?
Yes, sir. Of course they had arms, sir.
What I meant to ask, Legionary, was did they have weapons?
No, sir.
And why did they not have weapons?
Because they wouldn't have been able to carry the body if they'd been armed, sir. That's obvious, sir. Even you should have realised that, sir.
Legionary Dimmus, are you highly trained in the use of your, hasta?
Yes, sir. Practice every day, sir. It's in the rule book.
The rule book?
Yes, sir. The Roman army manual for poking foreigners with long, pointy, and sharp objects, sir.
So, if these disciples were carrying a body with their hands full and you had orders to prevent them doing so, why did you not poke the disciples with your long, pointy, and sharp objects?
Well, you see, sir. Well, we couldn't, sir. We couldn't.
And why could you not, Legionary Dimmus? Please speak clearly so the senators can hear you.
We must have been asleep, sir.
Asleep, Legionary Dimmus?
Yes, sir.
In your early evidence, you said that, and I quote, my squad mates would have beaten me to death. Sir, no Roman legionary would ever be caught asleep on duty. Sir.
Sir.
Yet, distressingly, you still appear to be alive, legionary.
Sir.
Can you explain how you were not subject to the usual punishment for your lapse of duty?
That would be the nice Rabbi Caphias. Lovely man. He had a word with the centurion and I got let off with a bit of a telling off, sir.
A bit of a telling off. Legionary Dimmus, are you suggesting that the Empire, which just executed a man by nailing to a cross for reputedly saying that we ought to love each other, would let a disreputable, dim-witted and rather pungent legionary such as yourself off the charge of dereliction of duty?
That's very bloke that Rabbi Caphias is, sir.
I see. So, you were asleep when the body disappeared.
It didn't disappear, sir. The disguise place took it, sir. I told you, sir.
So you saw them
Yes, sir. With my own eyes, sir.
whilst you were asleep.
Sir.
You saw the unarmed disciples of Mr. Jesus Josephson steal the body out of the tomb belonging to Mr. of Arimathea, but you weren't able to stop them despite being fully armed because you were asleep at the time, despite having been awake all night.
Yes, sir. Exactly, sir.
Legionary Dimmus, if you were asleep, then how did you see the body being stolen? If you were asleep, how did you know that Mr. Josephson didn't just sit up all by himself and walk out of the tomb as if nothing bad had happened to him?
That's ridiculous, sir. No one gets better after being crucified, sir. It's impossible.
But seeing people clearly enough to identify them at night when your eyes are shut because you're asleep isn't?
Couldn't say, sir.
Legionary Dimmus, would you explain to the Senate how you arrived at the Senate buildings today?
By chariot, sir.
That would be the A5 501 Special Edition chariot.
Yes, sir. Composite wheels, high gloss varnish finish, 2 horsepower, eco-fueled with the Go Faster stripes.
Legionary Dimmus, how much does a Roman soldier get paid these days?
I get paid a salary.
And what do you get paid?
Salt, sir. The clue is in the name. Salary, salt.
And the A5 501 Special Edition chariot costs how much? How much, Legionary?
300 denarii, sir.
Been saving, have we, Legionary?
Yes, sir.
I have in my hand a sworn affidavit that states that you bought the A5 501 Special Edition chariot this morning with a bag of silver coins minted by the Jewish Temple Treasury.
Sir.
If you say "sir" one more time, I shall forestall you myself.
Yes, sir. You worship.
So, where did you get the money from?
Found it on the street, sir. Your worship. You know what they always say. Mendici postes eligere ut bene.
You may step down, Legionary Dimmus.
Thank you, sir. I mean, your worship.
Ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, you have heard the testimony of the legionary Julius Dimmus, a more aptly named soldier would be hard to find, that despite it being a capital offence to fall asleep whilst guarding the tomb containing the body of Mr. Jesus Josephson, and that despite being asleep he claims to have seen the unarmed disciples of Mr. Josephson removing the body from the tomb, but he did not attempt to stop them as he was trained to with the sword and spear because he was actually asleep. You've also heard that he's not facing death by beating for dereliction of duty due to the kind word put in for him by Rabbi Caiaphas, and that he's suddenly acquired a large amount of cash in a denomination only found in the Jewish temple. Ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, I put it to you that Legionary Dimmus and his co-conspirator Legionary Lucas are unreliable witnesses, and that their testimony regarding the events of the Ides of Aprilis is without merit, accuracy, or wit. This session will be adjourned for you to consider your decision, but I urge you to dismiss their testimony. Our next witnesses will be called in 7 days' time. They are Mary, the mother of the allegedly deceased Mr. Josephson, Mary, the mother of James and Joseph, Salome, and Joanna. This Senate shall rise.